Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about Forex charts and basic analysis. Alright, so we're going to be looking at how we can analyze and what type of software and charts we are going to use to carry out our analysis. So under today's topic, we are going to be discussing on 1, understanding Forex charts and indicator, 2, support and resistance, and also trend lines, and 3, we're going to be looking at basic fundamental analysis. Alright, so starting off with understanding Forex chart and indicator. Before we dive into this, alright, we might not be able to go over each and every single type of chart we have, indicators, and the rest of them. But you know what? There is a good news because you can actually follow up and meet up with every other aspect that are not going to be covered in this particular video by going onto our website using the link in the description below, heading on over to the reward segment and watching those free educational videos that have been embedded there. Alright, so once you watch this video, they will make up for every other thing that we were not able to discuss in this particular playlist, and then you'll be able to add them up to the knowledge that are required for you to understand the foreign exchange market. Now, when we talk about Forex chart and indicators, all right, we are simply talking about where we carry out our analysis, the charts we use to carry out our analysis and forecast price movements. So there are different types of charts we can actually use to do that. We have the MetaTrader, we have TradingView, we have CTrader, we have numerous types of softwares that you can use to actually analyze and carry out your analysis. All right, but the most popular, which is being used by almost 90% of traders around the world, is the TradingView, and this is the platform we are currently on. All right, so this TradingView platform is a platform that is quite amazing and very easy to use. All right, so right here on the left hand panel you have your tools which you can use for drawing on the chart, and you also have the indicator segments here where you can apply different indicators onto your chart. All right, so when we come here and click on this button right here, we can see our symbol, which is the currency pairs we are looking at. Now we do not only have currency pairs, we also have commodities and also stocks that we can look at by using the TradingView. All right, so you can view different type of assets from stock, commodity, cryptocurrency, and the rest of them. All right, so here is where you have your pairs or the symbol you want to select. So you can select any asset from this point. So if I want to go to XAU USD, which is the gold USD, I can click on this and it will take me to that point. All right, so we are going to try to impute some indicators and see how we can actually use them in carrying out analysis. So for me to actually impute an indicator, all I need to do is come to this segment here, click on the indicator, and then I select the indicator I want to use. Now I can simply search on the indicator that I want to use and also bookmark them as my favorite. All right, so I'm going to be applying the moving average because this is a simple indicator that tells you the trend of the market. All right, so we see we have this blue line now attached to our chart right here, and what this indicator does is that it tells us the trend of the market. And you can also edit the properties of this indicator by going to this segment here or by simply double clicking on it. All right, so if I double click on the line right here, it is going to open up for me the properties of this moving average, and I can edit anything I want to edit right here. And because of time, we are not going to cover every single detail about what this particular indicator does, but then you can always head on to our website, watch the educational videos that have been embedded in the reward section, and you can get to understand how to appropriately use all of this and set their properties. All right, so we can see right here we have this indicator. So once we see price trading below this particular line, it is telling us that that particular currency pair might likely be bearish, and if the candlestick have been closing under the line for a particular period of time, it is actually telling us that this is probably going to continue in that direction. All right, so you can see here the price has been trading lower below the blue line, which is indicating to us that this probably is a downtrend. Now we can actually take our trades and carry out our execution by looking for short or going short in this market and buying back and making our profit somewhere below this low. Now there are also other type of charts that we can actually use. If we hide this indicator for a minute, you can actually choose to view your chart on a line graph. All right, so this is the line graph. It also tells you the direction of the market using the line. The line will tell you where the market is trending to and where it is coming from. Or you can use a candlestick. All right, the candlestick is the most used because it tells you the opening price, the closing price, the highest price of a particular candle, and the lowest price of a particular candle. And that is why it is most used by almost every foreign exchange trader or technical analyst. So we know how to apply indicators now, but let us talk about support and resistance and also trend lines. All right, remember earlier I told you this is where we have the tools that you can use in drawing on this particular graph or this chart. All right, now we pick this button right here, which is the trend line tool. So if you hover over them right here, you see their names. All right, if you hover, you see the trend line and you can select them. Now this trend line is simply just a line that you can use for drawing. But how do we use this line? We can use this line in actually identifying the direction or the trend of the market by applying the line to the highs or the low of your chart. So for example, if I want to understand the trend of this particular chart, I can simply use the trend line and fix my trend line from the high, all right, of this point, make it match with this point, and then extend it all the way down here. Right, so this is telling me that this particular trend is bearish. Why? Because we know that in looking at market structure, if we are seeing lower highs, it is telling us that the market structure is bearish. And this trend line is also telling us that this line is facing downwards, which is telling us that the trend is what, bearish. Now, in a case where we see the line, slightly going up like this, it will tell us that that particular currency pair is what, bullish. But how do we apply this on the charts? We apply this on the lows. All right here we apply this on the low. So this is what we know as what, a bullish trend. If you see price respecting the trend line, you can say that that is your bullish market. And if you want to apply it to the top, that is also possible, but then it will not be as smooth as applying it to the low. But typically what you are using the trend line to do is identify if your high is higher than the previous high or if it is lower. Now if it is higher, you know that this is actually what, an uptrend. So you can see that the trend line is actually slanting a little bit higher, which is telling us that this trend is actually bullish and it will probably continue in that direction. Meanwhile, if it is going down, like I said earlier, it is going to be bearish. Now when we talk about support and resistance, support typically acts as a ground floor that holds price and prevents it from going any lower, while resistance acts like a ceiling that prevents price from going any higher. So for example, we have something like this over here. We have this level here that actually held price and prevented price from going any higher. So you can see the moment price came into this level, it broke down, it came back into that level and broke down again. So this is an important level that we can look at and say, oh, this area is preventing price from going any higher. So this is probably a key level that you might want to look at for in the future. And you can see that that level is actually respected, and once price gets into the level again, it rejects and continue going lower. All right, the same thing can be said as support level. There are areas that actually hold price from going any lower and see price move higher. So for example, if we take this zone right here, you can see that once price made this low, it rejected, it went higher, it came back into that area and also went higher. So this in the future should be a level you should be looking at and saying, oh, since that's rejected twice, it is probably going to hold. So anytime price comes into this level again, we should see a rejection and we should want to see a price movement going higher. And this is what we have when price actually gets into that level on the third time. So you can see price comes into that zone again and it rejects away from that area. Now, how do you utilize this support and resistance? Once you identify your support or your resistance, you don't just go into buying or selling at those zones. You want to see a rejection off of that area, then you want to refine your entry and look for how you can buy or how you can sell. So if I was waiting for price to come into this area, I would not just immediately go in and buy from this area. I want to see a push higher and a movement that suggests that price is now bullish, and that is when I'll be looking to take a buy. And opposite is said for the resistance. Now let us look at some basic fundamental analysis where we can have different type of economic indicators that tells us where the price of a particular currency pair or asset can move without even having to do our technical analysis. Alright, so what is fundamental analysis? Fundamental analysis is any analysis that you carry out that involves the evaluation of an economic, social, or political factors that may affect the value of a particular country's currency. Now, it is important that you know that fundamental analysis focuses on determining the intrinsic value of a currency pair based on the external factors rather than historical price patterns or chart patterns we have seen previously. All right. So now, what are these fundamental analysis and what are we going to be looking out for when we are carrying out fundamental analysis? Number one is economic indicators. What are these economic indicators? They are indicators that actually tells us if a country economy is strong or if a country economy is weak. Now, based on economic teachings, we know that if an economy is doing well, that will actually drive the value of that country's currency to move higher. And if an economy is not really doing well, then the value of their currency is going to decline. All right. So example of these economic indicators that actually shows us if an economy is doing well or not is the gross domestic product growth rate, the inflation rate, employment data, and the retail sales. And as I said earlier, strong economic performance typically would strengthen a country's currency, while a weak data can weaken it. Right. So in a minute, we are going to go onto some tools we can use to actually check these indicators to the best of our advantage. The second key factor we'll be looking at in basic fundamental analysis is the interest rate and the central bank policies. Now, these interest rates and central bank policies are actually the policies that are being set by the central banks. Now, we know that high interest rates will likely attract foreign investment, which means that more investors want to likely carry out investments in a country that has high interest rates, which will in turn strengthen the value of that country's currency. All right. So these monetary policies decisions that are made by the central bank usually impact the value of their currency. All right. So a lower interest rate might not be appealing to investors and would likely just see the value of that currency stable or decline a little bit. All right. But high interest rates would definitely signify that investors are going to be wanting to invest in that country's economy, and then the value of their country's currency would likely increase. Now, the last key factor we'll be looking at under fundamental analysis is the geopolitical events and news. Now, what are these geopolitical events and news? They are simple things like elections, geopolitical tensions, and trade agreements, right? So when you have these news that are going on, you actually want to stay focused and stay up to date with what is happening. All right, because when we have things like election going on in a country and the most favorable candidate actually wins the election, then it might actually strengthen the value of that country's currency. All right, so political stability and global events usually would influence the market sentiment about a currency value and the currency flow of a particular country. Right, so these are the key factors you need to have in mind when carrying out your fundamental analysis. Now let us head on to what tools we can actually carry out this fundamental analysis on. One of the tools you can actually use is the Forex factory, right? And this is what it looks like over here. So this is what we call Forex factory. In order for you to have access to this website, the link is in the description, so you can just use the link, or you can actually visit www.forexfactory.com and you'll be redirected to this page right here. So what you want to do right here is simply look at this calendar. So this calendar actually tells you when a particular news is being released for any country. All right, so you have different countries here. You can see the China, Eurozone, the United States, Switzerland, Japan, and the rest of them. So you can actually use this to track the interest rate, gross domestic product, and every other economical analysis that you need to do. Now, once you are here, in order for you to know about how this data information is likely to affect a particular currency, all you need to do is scroll down and you would head on to this legend over here. So you can see that the red folders are usually high impact that are being expected when these data are being released, while the orange is the medium and the yellow is for low. All right, so when you see a green number, which is this type of numbers are displaying here, it is actually telling you that it was a better than forecast data that is being released. And usually a better than forecast is always good for a country's currency. And when you see worse than forecast, sometimes it might mean that it might be bad for a currency. All right, so these are what you want to look out for when dealing with fundamental analysis. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. Do not forget to subscribe, give this video a like, and share with your loved ones. And do not forget to watch the next video where we'll be talking about risk management and trading psychology that will help you, especially you that is getting started in the foreign exchange market. Alright, so I'll be seeing you in the next video, and do not miss out on that.
Learn and earn with CoinLearnity. Ready to boost your knowledge and get rewarded? With CoinLearnity, every minute you spend learning turns into real rewards. Here's how it works. 1. Sign up or log in to your account. 2. Head over to the Rewards tab in your personal learning area. 3. Watch our free video tutorials and earn CoinLearnity tokens for every minute you spend learning. The more you watch, the more tokens you collect, and those tokens can be redeemed for amazing rewards like gift vouchers, trading bonuses, cash rewards, and more. Don't miss out. Start your learning journey with CoinLearnity today and make every lesson count.